Here goes nothing. I'm recording this in January of 2026. There are monks walking for peace across the country right now. At the same time, we're watching governments and institutions that were supposed to represent stability fracture. Financial markets swinging wildly, political chaos, social division, uncertainty everywhere you look. It feels it feels like the ground is shifting under your feet. So, in moments like these, a lot of people freeze. They wait for things to get back to normal. They hold their breath, hoping something or someone else can fix it. But what I've learned at 55, after building a business, surviving a pandemic that nearly destroyed it all, navigating economic uncertainty, and launching this podcast, you can't control chaos. You can't control your purpose. There's a Japanese concept called Ikigai. It translates roughly into a reason for being, the reason you get up in the morning. When I first heard it years ago, I thought, oh, that's beautiful, but abstract, philosophical almost. Something you just contemplate over green tea while staring at a mountain. Ikigai is not abstract at all. It's the most practical, urgent question you'll ever ask yourself. Midlife? Midlife is when it all gets real. I'm Jamie. I own a boutique fitness studio. I even have an MBA. On paper, I've made it. But let me tell you about the moment a few years ago when I sat in my empty studio during COVID, wondering if everything I'd built, all the time I put into this, had collapsed. And realizing I was asking myself a question I hadn't asked for years. Why am I doing this? What am I actually here for? Welcome to Man Listen. Today we're talking about finding your Ikigai in midlife when you've had enough life experience to actually know what matters. Also, enough awareness of mortality to realize you can't waste another decade on autopilot. Let me clear it up for you. This isn't about quitting your job to go find yourself in Bali. This is about honest assessment, courageous questions, and aligning what you do with who you actually are. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. Before we move forward, let me spell, let me enunciate this for you. Ikigai. Ikigai. Got it? Stay with me. Ikigai is a framework that comes from Okinawa, Japan, one of the world's blue zone where people live longer, healthier, and with more purpose than almost everywhere on earth. And guess what? It is not for sale. The concept is built on four intersecting questions. Number one, what do I love? What gives you joy? What could you do for hours and lose track of time? Number two, what are you good at? Your skills, your talent, your strength, things that actually make sense for you. Number three, what does the world need? The question is, what problems can you solve? And number four, what can you get paid for? I'm talking about financial stability. What can actually support your life? Your Ikigai lives at the intersection where what you love meets what you're good at. That's passion. Where what you're good at meets what you can get paid for. That's a profession. Where what you can be paid for meets what the world needs. That's your vocation. And where what the world needs meets your love. That is mission. When all four overlap, that's Ikigai. That's purpose. That's the reason you get up in the morning. When you're 25, this framework feels aspirational. You're still figuring out what you love, discovering what you're good at, experimenting with what the world needs, and desperately trying to get paid for almost anything. But at 50, at 55, you have data. For the most part, you know what you love because you've experienced enough to recognize what genuinely fulfills you versus what just looks good on Instagram. You know what you're good at because you've had decades to develop real skills and competency. You know what the world needs because you've lived long enough through economic shifts to cultural changes, and you understand problems in ways younger people are still figuring out for themselves. You know what you can get paid for, right? It's because you've navigated markets, you've built income streams, and understand financial reality. The huge difference is in midlife, Ikigai isn't theoretical, it's tactical. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people face. You might discover what you've been doing for 20 plus years does not align with your Ikigai at all. Let me tell you my story because I think it'll resonate with a lot of you. I built a fitness studio from nothing. I started training in a park so many years ago and worked up to this over time. Put everything into it blood, sweat, equity, late nights, early morning. It was my identity. When people ask what I did, I'm thinking, I'm the studio. So we're zooming along, doing pretty good. Then COVID hit. March 2020, everything shut down. My studio, empty. My clients, scared. Lockdown, canceling memberships. My revenue evaporating overnight. So I found myself sitting in my empty space, just me and all this equipment. And for the first time in years, I had to ask myself, is it all going away? And who am I? What am I actually going to do with all of this? Question after question filled my head. Was I doing it because I loved it? Hardly. Was I good at it? Yes. Did the world need it? I believe that they did. Could I be paid for it? Well, that for all of a sudden, that was my question. Could I get paid for it anymore based on where the world was at that time? So in this crisis, we were forced to reframe everything. What did success actually look like anymore? Was it just about revenue and client counts, or was it impact, transformation, and community? I admit I had to struggle with that because as a business, we're operating to make a profit. Yet somehow, the concept of better community, less selfishness at times drive business forward. At least that's the case for small businesses anyway. I had to reassess my business goals, my direction, my identity. Here's what I realized. The studio was part of my Ikigai, but not all of it. What I loved was helping people reclaim themselves. What I was good at was coaching, leading, teaching. What the world needed was honest guidance on health and living well. Then I had to understand what I could be paid for was expanding beyond just training in physical spaces. That's when things started to shift. I adapted. I went online. I was on YouTube. I was all over the place. I had to change my offer. I had to survive. More than that, I had to evolve. I know I'm not alone in this. Right now, in 2026, so many people are facing similar moments of reassessment. Maybe it's economic uncertainty making you question your job security or business model. Maybe it's watching institutions you trusted crumble and you're realizing that you need to build something you control. Maybe it's the constant chaos, political, social, financial, making you wonder, what am I actually building here? What can I count on? Maybe it's just waking up on one Tuesday at 52 and thinking, is this it? Is this all there's going to be? Midlife is when the script you've been following stops working. The career path that made sense at 30 feels empty at 50. The identity you built feels like a costume and you're tired of wearing it. The goal you chase feels hollow now. Did you achieve those goals? So what? The world you feel so unpredictable in is the reality we're living in. It is unpredictable, it's unstable, and it is right now. Here's the opportunity hidden within that chaos. When everything external is uncertain, you're forced to focus on what's internal, on what you can control. You can't control the economy. You can't control politics. You can't control what institutions do or do not do. You can control what skills you develop, what knowledge you acquire, what abilities you strengthen, what value you create, and what purpose drives you. You have clarity now that you didn't have before. You have resources, financial, social, intellectual, that most don't have at 25. You have courage that comes from surviving things that look like failure. That, again, Most don't understand at 25, you have time, potentially 30 to 50 more years, so don't waste them. Midlife isn't the end of purpose, it's when purpose gets real. Now, those uncertain times, they're when your Ikigai matters the most. When you know what you're here to do, when you know what drives you, when you've built skills and value that can't be taken away, external chaos, it can't shake you. All right, team, I'm gonna get a little technical, but sit back, stay with me. We're gonna map out your Ikigai, the four circles. I want you to actually work through this with me. Grab a notebook or just, think about it in your head as we go. We're going to map out your Ikigai using four circles, as I mentioned before. I'm warning you now, this requires honesty, not answers you think you need to give, not what looks good on LinkedIn. I want the truth. Circle one. What do you love? Not what you're supposed to love, not what you used to love at 25, what brings you joy right now. And let's think about it. What activities make you lose track of time? What do you do even when you're not getting paid for it? What energizes you rather than drains you? What would you do if money and obligation weren't a factor? For me, I love teaching. I love the moment when someone gets it, when they break through on some barrier, physical or mental. I love building things, systems, businesses, communities. I love storytelling. I guess you can tell that, which excites me about this podcast. Now, what about you? Take a minute. What do you genuinely love? Here's the hard part. What you're currently doing that you don't love, but you feel obligated to, we're going to get rid of that. Circle two. What are you good at? This is about honest self-assessment. No false modesty, no inflated ego. We want the reality. Now think about it. What skills have you developed over decades? What do people consistently come to you for with help or needing help with? What comes naturally to you that others struggle with? What have you been able to be paid for successfully? I'm going to go back there. I'm good at coaching. I can read people. I inspire others. I create programs that work. I'm good at business operations. The MBA helped me build systems that function. I'm good at endurance, both physical and mental. I can push through when things get really hard. Now, what about you? What's in your toolbox after 30 plus years of living and working? Come on, bro. I need you to be honest. What are you not good at? But you keep trying anyway. Circle three. What does the world need? This is where ego dies and service begins. Think about it. What problems do you see that bother you? What pain points do people around you experience? What gaps exist in your community, industry, or world? What would make a meaningful difference if it existed? The world needs honest, grounded guidance on midlife health, not gimmick or before and after pictures. Straight talk about what it takes to stay strong and alive as you age. The world needs men and women 50 plus to have a voice with a community that reflects their reality, not society's stereotypical, you're getting old. What the world needs are people who've built businesses, survived failures, and kept going to share their wisdom with others navigating similar paths. Now, what about you? What does the world need that you uniquely are positioned to provide? Circle four. What can you be paid for? Let's get real about money. Purpose doesn't pay the mortgage. Ikigai without income, man, it's just a hobby. Now think about it. What value can you provide that people will actually pay for? What markets exist for your skills and passion? What's the economic reality of what you do or want to do? What's sustainability long term for your goals? I can be paid for fitness training and coaching. That's proven. I can potentially be paid for content creation through sponsorships, ads, products down the line. I can be paid for consulting with other fitness type business owners who want to build sustainable studios. Here's the tension. I can't be paid well for things I love that have no market value. I won't be paid at all if I'm not strategic about monetization. What about you? What's the honest financial picture of your Ikigai? Critically, are you currently being paid for things that don't align with you in those other three circles? That's a trap many are stuck in. Now, here's the work. Where do all four circles overlap for you? If you're being honest, you might find you're getting paid well for something you're good at, but don't love and doesn't feel meaningful. Profession without passion or mission. You love something and the world needs it, but not good at making money or monetizing yourself. That's mission without professional skill. You're passionate about something and good at it, but the market has no need for it, or the problem hasn't been solved in a way that you can make money at it. The sweet spot, your Ikigai, is where all of these things converge. Here's the truth. You might not even be there yet. Most people aren't. At least now you can see the gap. Let's start making intentional moves to get you closer. I want to push back on the narrative that you're too old to find or pursue your Ikigai. Midlife is actually the perfect time, especially now in uncertain times. And here's why. You have perspective. You've lived long enough to know what doesn't work. You've tried things. You've failed at things. You succeeded at things. You're not guessing anymore, friends. You have data. See, a 25-year-old might think their Ikigai is investment banking because it sounds impressive. You know whether that life actually fulfills you or not. When the world is in chaos, perspective is power. I mean, look at yourself. You have resources, financial, social, intellectual capital. You're not starting at zero. You may have some savings, equity, income streams. You have a network or relationships built over decades. You have knowledge and skills younger people are yet to develop. In uncertain economic times, having multiple skills, multiple streams of income, multiple paths forward, we call that security. This gives you options that younger people don't have yet. You have skills that cannot be taken away. Here are some things critical to understand in times like this. Jobs can and will disappear. Companies can fail. Markets can crash. Institutions can crumble. But your skills, your knowledge, your ability, those can't be taken away from you. If you spent 30 plus years developing expertise in coaching, in business, in a craft, in problem solving, that value remains even when external systems fail. That's why now is the time to double down on building and expanding your capacity. Not because you're chasing status, because you're building resilience. You're creating value that exists independent of any single institution or system. You have courage, or you're supposed to have courage. You've survived enough failure to know that failure is not a death sentence. You've been knocked down, gotten back up. You're less afraid of judgment because you've learned that other people's opinions do not actually matter. At this big age, you have urgency without panic. You're aware of your mortality in ways you weren't when you were 30. That's not depressing, it's clarity. You don't have forever. That makes you ask better questions. What actually matters to you? When the world feels unstable, that urgency becomes your fuel. You're not waiting for permission. You're not waiting for the right time. You're acting now because you understand time is not to be wasted. You can't go back. You also have permission to let go. 50 plus, you can release identities that no longer serve you. You can say, I spent 20 plus years building this career and it is valuable. But It's not what I want to do for the next 20 years. You can say I've chased status and external validation. I'm done with that. You can say the world is changing in ways I can't control. I'm going to focus on what I can control, my purpose, my skills, my value. That's power and that's freedom. I launched this podcast in 2025 at 55 while the world was feeling uncertain. 5 years ago, I might have thought this was crazy. Who's going to listen? What is it about? What if it fails? Shouldn't I just stick to what's safe? If you know me, you know I never play safe. But now, it makes perfect sense. I have something to say, what I love. I have the credibility to say it, what I'm good at. People need this conversation, what the world needs. I can build this into something sustainable, what I can get paid for. Check it, bro. That's Ikigai in action. If platforms change, if the economy shifts, I still have skills. I still have the knowledge. I still have the ability to create value to serve people. That can't be taken away. That's midlife ikigai in uncertain times. Here's something important. Finding your ikigai in midlife doesn't mean you have to blow up your entire life. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. You don't have to sell everything and move to Bali. You don't have to abandon your responsibilities. Sometimes Ikigai is about addition, not subtracting. It's an and, not an or. For me, it's the fitness studio and the podcast. The studio at times pays the bills, serves my clients, fulfills part of my Ikigai. The podcast allows me to reach more people, explore ideas, expressing a different part of who I am. One doesn't replace the other. They coexist, they reinforce each and other. And here are a few examples of and. You're a corporate executive and you mentor young entrepreneurs on the side. You're a teacher and you write poetry on the weekend. You're a financial analyst and you volunteer coaching youth sports. You are retired from one career and building consulting practice in another. Sometimes your ikigai is a portfolio, not a singular entity. Maybe your ikigai isn't a new career. It's doing your current work differently. Maybe it's shifting from executive to mentorship. Maybe it's saying no to clients or projects that drain you and yes to ones that energize you. Maybe it's reducing hours in one area to create space for something new. Maybe it's refining what success looks like in your current role. You have more agency than you think. You can make intentional adjustments without burning everything down. The question is, what small pivots could you make this month that move you closer to Ikigai? Here's a question that clarifies Ikigai like nothing else. When you're 85, looking back on your life, what do you want to have mattered? Not what you've achieved, not your title or bank account. What mattered? So let's think about this. What impact have you made on people? What values you live by? What risks did you take or didn't take? What relationships were you nurturing? The courage you showed? The way you served something bigger than yourself? For me, I don't want to be remembered as the gym guy or the guy that owned the gym. I want to be remembered as someone who helped people reclaim and live their fullest lives. Someone who spoke truth, someone who built communities, someone who kept showing up even when it got hard. That's legacy. That's Ikigai in the long view. The brutal truth, if you keep living on autopilot for the next 20 years, doing what you've always done, avoiding the hard questions, what will your legacy be? Let's see. Will it be regret of, I wish I had? Will it be resignation based on playing it safe? Will it be emptiness of, I never really figured out what or who I was supposed to be? Or will it be, I took risks? There's alignment in my life. I served something meaningful. I lived fully, not timidly. You get to choose, but only if you're willing to ask the questions now. All right, team, let's make this clear. Here's how you actually start moving towards Ikigai. Step one, kids, map out your current reality. Take one piece of paper, draw four circles, and just list them out. What do I currently love doing? Be honest, not inspirational. What am I currently good at? Your skills, talents, strengths. What does the world currently need that I can provide? Problems I can solve. What am I currently being paid for? Income sources. Now look at the gaps. That's the misalignment. Step two, identify one thing that is most out of alignment in your life. Do not try to fix everything at once. Pick one area that feels most urgent. Are you being paid for what you hate? Are you great at something but never get to use it? Are you passionate about something but it hasn't developed into a skill yet? Are you doing meaningful work and can't sustain it financially? Step three, experiment with small moves. You don't need to hit a grand slam. You need to have a small experiment. If you love something but aren't getting paid for it, can you offer it as a service to one person this month? Can you create one piece of content around it? If you're good at something but don't love it anymore, can you delegate it out? Can you automate it? Can you reduce how much time and effort you spend on it? If the world needs something and you can provide it, can you test that demand? Can you have a conversation with the people experiencing that problem? If you can't be paid for what you love, can you build a skill, get a certification, or find a different angle that is monetizable? Small moves, test, learn, let's get paid. Step four, take time for Ikigai exploration. You will not find time for this. You will make time for this. Block 2 hours this week. No phone, no distractions, just you and the questions. What do I actually want? What's stopping me? What one move can I make? This isn't selfish. This is essential. Step five, find accountability. Don't try to do this alone. Share your Ikigai exploration with someone who will hold you accountable, a spouse, a friend, a coach, a community, much like this one. Say it out loud. I'm working towards X. I'm going to take Y actions this month. Check in with me. Accountability turns into intention, and intention becomes action. Step six, give it time, but don't wait forever. Find your Ikigai isn't a weekend workshop. It's going to be an ongoing practice of alignment. But also, don't use I'm still figuring it out as your BS excuse not to take action. You'll never ever find the perfect time for clarity. Move away from that. Adjust as you go. All right, team. Here's the challenge for this week. Day one or day two, do the Ikigai audit. Map out your four circles. Honestly, identify where you align and where you are off. Days three and four, pick out one area of alignment, just one. Write it down, why it matters, why it costs, why it doesn't work with your alignment. Day 5 through 7, take one small action towards alignment, not a massive overhaul. One conversation, 1 hour spent on a passion project, one boundary set at work, one application submitted, one idea explored. That's it. That's your talent challenge. Here's what I'm hoping you can take away from this episode. Ikigai isn't a luxury for people with unlimited time and resource. It's the most practical question you can ask yourself at any age, especially now that most of us are in midlife. You have lived long enough to know what matters. You have built enough to know what doesn't. You have enough years left to make meaningful shifts. And you have the courage, resource, and clarity to actually do it. The world doesn't need you to keep performing a role that no longer fits. The world needs you fully engaged, ready to kick ass. Next episode, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to talk about things that might be relative to you or not, depending on where you are in your life. The title, I'm Not Your Little Friend. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to keep bringing it to you live and direct. Thanks for being here, friends. Thanks for living more life every day. It's Jamie. Man, listen. And I'm out.